Blue, the answer, go. We competing today.
No, there you go.
We're moving.
This is Jets Gameday with Robert Saleh, presented by FanDuel.
Happy holidays. Coming up, we'll hear from Jets head coach Robert Saleh, film guru Brian Baldinger, and Ethan Greenberg. But we start with Bart Scott, Leger Douzable. Bart, 3 games remain for the Jets, and I think they're all intriguing. The Jaguars, the Buccaneers, and the Bills.
Yeah, I tell you what, this is the one that they have to get. Going against a team that's in a similar situation, picks 1 and 2 in the draft. I wonder if Zach Wilson is going to feel a little added pressure to kind of show up and show out because it's no excuses this week. Going against a team that's in the same situation that you're in, you're at home, you should be the dominant outfit. Let's see if they can keep some of this consistency and put a whole 4 quarters together, not just a half, not just splashes, but a dominant performance from start to finish.
Leger, how about the big picture, though? You go from a 2-12 Jacksonville team to Tom Brady and the defending Super Bowl champions, and quite possibly a Buffalo team facing elimination in Week 18.
Yeah, talking about a juggernaut finish to the Jets schedule. If you look at it this week, they got the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got the former number 1 pick versus the current number 2 pick as far as this past year's draft, Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson. So I think people will be intrigued and want to turn into that game. Then you talk about playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just took a loss to the New Orleans Saints, are still trying to fight to make sure they can win that division and possibly get a number 1 seed in the NFC. And then you finish up with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who lost earlier versus the Patriots, have a big game today versus the New England Patriots. So you're talking about a team that could be fighting for the AFC East and be fighting just to get into the playoffs. So this will be a good measuring stick for the Jets. But again, it's not about who the Jets are playing. It's about the Jets and then progressing as a group as a whole.
Well, we know the Jets are definitely going to be seeing a lot of Josh Allen over these final 3 weeks. Bart, what did you think the Jets learned about December football against the Dolphins?
That's where the men show up, right? It's about physicality, where a team doesn't look like their physical outfit. They can run the ball. We understand it's a battle of attrition. And I don't care if you're in Miami. I don't care if you're in Buffalo, Cincinnati. You talk about December football is about, hitting your stride and playing physical in between the tackles, because you know that the sand is running out of hourglass. You can be more physical. You're not saving anything for tomorrow. It's all or nothing. So guys are playing with senses of desperation as they have aspirations to try and get in the tournament. Unfortunately, the Jets have been eliminated, but almost every team in the NFL is scratching and clawing for that one opportunity to get in the tournament, because if you look around the NFL, you see that nobody's invincible. I wouldn't be surprised if anybody beat anybody. So guys are playing with that sense of desperation. Their jobs on the line, and there's opportunities to be had because of COVID, because of injuries. You can get an opportunity to go from a guy on the bottom of the totem pole to a guy on the top, leading into the next season. If I'm the Jets, it's all about spoiler alert. I can't go. I'm Buck Nasty, the biggest hater. You can't go either.
Coming up after the break, we'll go one-on-one with head coach Robert Saleh.
Now it's time to go inside the walls, brought to you by FanDuel.
Above all else, what do you like most about your cornerbacks?
I love the way that they come into work every day, wanting to learn, looking for indicators, looking for a way to step up their game. And, I think they're really taking to the challenge. It's been a couple weeks now where we talk about getting the ball. That's the next step that this group needs to take. And for Eccles to go out there and get the ball the way he did and take it to the house, it was awesome. And Bryce has come close a few times, and Michael's come close a few times. Obviously, Ashton's gotten a couple. He had another one in his hands too in the game. So the ball's starting to was bouncing around on last Sunday, and so the biggest thing I love is their hunger to learn.
How about the situation that pick 6 came in? You're down 24-17 in the 4th quarter, and he makes that play. Not only coming down with the pick, but he takes it to the house.
Yeah, it was a clutch moment, because there's, like you said, I think there was 7 minutes to go in the game. Offenses can't get in a rhythm. Defensively, we're kind of on our heels, and we have a backed up opportunity. We take it to the house. It's 24-24. We're right back in it. There's life. And obviously it didn't work out the way we wanted to, but for a young team in that moment to get that type of play, very similar to what happened in the Cincinnati game where, we got the interception, we scored, got the stop, played 4-minute football and won. It just didn't work out this way. But again, young team putting itself in position to be successful. Some you get, some you don't, but so many things to learn off of.
It seemed like every week early in the season, you were asking about your offense and why they can't get off to a quicker start. Now, 2 of the past 3 games, you guys have been firing on all cylinders at the beginning of the game.
I always break the game down in three sections. You've got the first half, which is scheme, and that's from an execution standpoint, game planning, from a coaching standpoint, and then for the players to execute it to the exact detail and vision of the way it's practiced. And so credit to and then there was a lot of obviously improvisation with the quarterback that made a lot of things work too. So he was pretty good in the first half too. But that first half is everyone tying in together, and there's a continuity or the familiarity, there's a cohesion that takes place in that. It's not just, okay, first half is scheme, so then the coaches go coach. It's all of them being on the same page and married together and understanding the true vision of what's trying to get accomplished. And I think you see that happening, and it's getting there faster and faster. The second half, that's where you look at adjustments in the third quarter happen, after the halftime adjustments, whatever adjustments are made. And we were good in the back or the first half of the year. There's ways we can recapture that if we can, and I know we will here in the second half of the year. And then obviously the fourth quarter being the third stage in terms of everything's been laid out. Like there is no more game planning. There's no more adjustments to be made. This is what it is. Let's go make plays. And that's where your playmakers go step up and make plays the way Echols made the play, and just, you make plays.
Can you elaborate on the fact where you said, I want to win these final 3 games, but the main thing has to be the main thing?
So winning will always be first and foremost, period. But, the question that was presented to me was whether or not that makes a difference in the overall scope of what we're trying to get as an organization. And keeping the main thing is the development of the quarterback, the development of the offense, the development of the defense and the young defensive backs, and really continuing to establish this vision that we have on the direction that we need to go this offseason to make sure that what we're feeling and the progress we're making is real and we can capitalize on it. And I feel like that despite what happened in the second half of the Miami game, I felt there was a lot of strides that were made, and we're going to get another opportunity against a Jacksonville team that's in the same boat we are. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out where they need to get to also, and so they're still trying to put on good tape and audition for 2022. And then you've got a Tampa team that's playoff ready, and you've got a Buffalo team that's getting ready to go into playoffs. So there's a lot of challenges ahead, and there's a lot of things that we can learn off of. And yes, winning is always first and foremost, but the main thing is progress and making sure that the quarterback, the offense, and all the young guys that we have on defense are developing in a way that will propel them into 2022.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh is brought to you by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the New York Jets. Up next, we'll go inside the film room with Brian Baldinger, and Ethan Greenberg will preview Week 16 in the AFC East. Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh is brought to you by FanDuel.
Welcome back. Eric Allen with Bart Scott, Leger Duzable. Bart, let's start with number 1. As in the first player selected in April's draft, Trevor Lawrence. Bart, the Jaguars don't have a lot of weapons around Lawrence yet, and he's thrown 1 touchdown pass in his last 7 games. What are you seeing?
I mean, really, it really don't even come down to that. I understand, listen, he's a guy, he rushes, he has tremendous belief in his arm. He's more mobile than people can give him credit for. But this is going to be about stopping the run. The Jets have have an issue stopping the run. Miami Dolphins, Robinson's been in the doghouse. I think everybody's happy that Urban Meyer's not there anymore. They're taking a step forward, and they're going to hand that rock off. And it's going to be more about that, RPOs and trying to have play action off the run game. I think, Trevor Lawrence has the arm talent, but he's just a guy that really just needs the support and needs some stability around him. Finally he said it was quiet. The noise isn't there anymore. And he's fighting for the same thing. He's fighting for the fact that saying, hey, if you put me in a normal thriving environment, I'll show you guys that I am the quarterback that you picked. So I think it's more about them stopping the run. Not so much about Trevor Lawrence this week. I don't think they're going to try and put him in harm's way too much. I think it's going to be about establishing a run and see if the Jets can, stop leaking oil.
Leger, let's move to number 2, though, as the second player selected in April's draft, Zach Wilson. He's been interception-free the past 2 games, and actually has 3 rush touchdowns in the past 4 games.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of taking care of the football and not putting his team in harm's way. Now, there were a couple of throws that potentially could have gotten picked, but he's done a much better job these last couple of games. And then also the rushing touchdowns. Yes, 2 of those were quarterback sneaks, but he's done a lot better job of just being mobile with his legs. And that's something that he did at BYU, but doing it at the right time, not just escaping the pocket right away. He did that once or twice this last game versus the Miami Dolphins, but I saw growth of him staying in the pocket and making throws and not trying to escape.
Leger, I love what Jets offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur is doing out there calling games. How has he helped Wilson of late?
Yeah, he's just been real inventive in his play calling. He's made it easy for Zach Wilson. We saw some of the fun things he's done with the reverse passes back to Wilson, and he throws it down the field. But he's also done a good job of using his mobility on certain bootlegs, getting him on the edge to make easy throws. He's also done a good job in RPO games, so he has an easy read. So that first read is open and available. So Zach Wilson has been able to be comfortable in the pocket.
We have a lot to be thankful for, fellas, and one of those people, of course, is Brian Baldinger. Let's get to the film room.
Thanks, EA. I want to go to the film room and really take a look at this Jacksonville Jaguar offense led by their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. The big thing about Trevor Lawrence here is Laviska Shenault goes emotion is he can look good and he can look not so good. He's very inconsistent. Like he's going to pump and dump right here. A little pump to Laviska Shenault, and he's going to throw this ball in a dead run to his tight end, O'Shaughnessy, hit him on a dead run and go for 30. It's a good throw, good concept. But then he can have an inside receiver here on 3rd down, and he's got an open Laquan Treadwell, and he's going to just bounce it into the ground with an open receiver right there. But he can come right back and climb the pocket here, feel the pressure without looking at the pressure, keep his eyes down the field, and make this throw here to Laquan Treadwell for 15 yards. But then he hasn't been good in the red zone. Like he makes the right read here. They're going to run crossing routes with Marvin Jones and Laquan Treadwell right here. And the defense here puts 2 defenders on Treadwell. Marvin Jones, number 11, he gets the single. He makes the right read. Just can't make the right throw. Like he's got Marvin Jones open. And the offensive line has protected him pretty well all year. Here's Marvin Jones. Like he's got a passing lane. He just doesn't throw with great anticipation and accuracy. So he misses it. But you have to defend him in all phases of the game. He's an excellent athlete. He can run. They have plays right here where he can throw it, he can run it, he can pitch it, he can do all those things. So you have to defend him in all 3 phases of the game. But a very inconsistent Trevor Lawrence here so far this season.
This is the AFC East Roundup.
Taking a look around the AFC East, I told you to circle your calendars last week, so let's head right to Foxborough where the 9-5 Patriots host the 8-6 Bills in a game that could decide the division title. The last time these teams met, New England won 14-10 in Buffalo in a game that was heavily impacted by Mother Nature and more specifically the wind. You take a look at the numbers here. Patriots quarterback Mac Jones only threw for 19 yards. He threw the ball 3 times throughout the entire game, as the Patriots' ground game, 222 yards, carried them to victory. And last week, the Patriots' winning streak came to an end in Indianapolis. The Colts took care of business, 27-17, while the Bills beat the Panthers 31-14 in Orchard Park. Last season, when Josh Allen played in New England, it was also Week 16. He threw for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns. And we'll see what happens in a couple hours in Foxborough. Moving on now, let's jump ahead to Monday night, where the Dolphins head to the Big Easy to take on the Saints. New Orleans been Tom Brady's kryptonite the last 2 seasons, and if I told you Alvin Kamara only ran for 18 yards, Taysom Hill ran for 33 yards while throwing for 154, you'd probably think the Saints lost. Well, that was not the case. They beat the Bucs 9-0 Sunday night. Miami, on the other hand, winners of 6 in a row, sitting at third place in the division. They were 1-7, now sitting at 7-7, and they'll face a defense that held Tom Brady to a QB rating of 57.1. I do want to note, though, the Jets intercepted Tua Tagovailoa twice last weekend. We'll see what's in store this weekend in New Orleans. Wrapping up with the Jets, they host the 2-12 Jaguars. This is going to be the 4th time since 1967 that quarterbacks selected 1 and 2 overall have faced each other as rookies that same season, as Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson set to go head-to-head. Take a look at their numbers this season. I do want to note, it is important to note that Zach Wilson missed 4 games with a PCL sprain, which is why there's a big discrepancy in the yards there. But it's going to be exciting, and the Jaguars, while they're on a 6-game skid, they lost to the Texans last week in interim head coach Darrell Bevell's first game in that role. Will the Bills get their revenge against New England? Will the Dolphins move above 500 for the first time this season? And which rookie quarterback will come out of MetLife Stadium with a victory? Kickoff is around the corner.
Don't go away. We're back with final thoughts on the matchup with Jacksonville after this. Jets Game Day with Robert Saleh is brought to you by MetLife.
Welcome back. Jets Jaguars today at MetLife Stadium. Eric Allen, joined as always by Bart Scott and Leger Douzable. Bart, on paper, what advantages favor the Jets?
I think that they're just the continuity. I think they've been building, especially from the offensive standpoint. They've played defense good in spurts, but this should be an outfit that this defensive line should dominate. I know they have Noel, who was one of the best free agents a couple years ago, and Cam Robinson, but this should be an outfit where guys should be licking their chops. Guys should, a guy like Franklin Myers should come to life. It's going to be a lot of opportunities to make plays out there. But this team is going to play with a level of energy and desperation because they understand, what it's all about as well, too. They're trying to make sure that they can continue to have a career because if you get, if you lose your job, it's going to be hard on your resume when they say, hey, you're a part of Jacksonville and you didn't, and that outfit wasn't very good.
Leger, let's talk rush defense. How do the Jets keep James Robinson under control on the ground?
Yeah, to me, it comes to Jeff Ulbrich, and this is what he's done mainly the whole season, playing a lot of man coverage just to make sure you have enough people allotted in the box to stop James Robinson. He kind of came back to life last week versus the Houston Texans once Urban Meyer left. To me, he's their best player on offense. They're going to try to get him the ball early and often, especially with the Jets struggling against the run. We saw the Miami Dolphins, who had averaged just under 80 yards rushing, go for over 180 yards versus the Jets. Now, a big question mark is, will Quentin Williams be healthy enough today to play, or Foley Fatukasi be able to play? Because them not playing in there really hurt the Jets on their run defense last week. So if I'm Jeff Ulbrich, I got to trust Bryce Hall. I got to trust Brandon Echols. I got to trust Michael Carter because I'm going to put them on islands this week versus those Jacksonville Jaguar receivers. That way I can allot another safety into the box to minimize James Robinson and his rushing ability.
If those guys aren't available, then you have to put those defensive linemen on the move. You got to make sure that you're innovative. You got to make sure that you're canceling gaps in the inside. You got to slant them. You got to run TE games. You got to run U games. Cancel the gaps and make it predictable where the openings are going to be. Talked to Sheldon Rankins the other day and just talking about guys not holding, being able to handle double teams. And that's how teams are going. They got teams are saying, hey, man, if they don't have Foley, if they don't have Quentin, we can get away with gap schemes. We can get movement by double teams and work up to these linebackers and create rushing lanes for our running backs. They're going to have to be able to be on the move. That way it's hard to double because you don't know where that player is going to be.
Let's start with Leger here. Did you hang any stockings?
I hung a few stockings, man. I hung a few stockings.
What was in there?
Actually, it's just decoration. I'm not even going to lie.
How about you, Bart?
First of all, I got kids. You have to hang stockings. Secondly, you can't put nothing in them to the night of because they will eat or steal whatever's in there. Yeah, I got the type of kids that peel back a little piece of the box and put it, underneath and then flip it over so they can try and get a peek about what's in there.
Happy holidays from all of us at One Jets Drive. Make sure you tune in to Jets Overtime on all our digital platforms following the game.